Experience has taught most citizens that there is a vicious cycle of corruption operating, and they often end up losing much more by resisting corruption. Delays, harassment, lost opportunity, loss of precious time and wages, uncertainty, and at times potential danger of a loss of life or a limb could result from resistance to corruption and non-compliance with demands. Examples being honest civil servants being killed, sand mafia, quarrying, etc. In such cases, the citizen is an unwilling victim of coercive corruption. But there are several cases of collusion between the bribe giver and corrupt public servant. In such cases of collusive corruption, both parties benefit at immense cost to society. Awarding of contracts for public works and procurement of goods and services, recruitment of employees, evasion of taxes, substandard projects, collusive violation of regulations, adulteration of foods and drugs, obstruction of justice, and concealing or doctoring evidence in investigation are all examples of such dangerous forms of corruption. As the economy is freed from state controls, extortionary corruption declines and collusive corruption tends to increase. We need to fashion strong and effective instruments to deal with this growing menace of collusive corruption, which is undermining the very foundations of our democracy and endangering society. Ethics in governance, however, has a much wider import than what happens in the different arms of the government. An across-the-board effort is needed to fight deviations from ethical norms. Such an effort needs to include corporate ethics and ethics in business. In fact, there should be a paradigm shift from the pejorative business ethics to ethics in business. There is a need for ethics in every profession, voluntary organization, and civil society structure, as these entities are now vitally involved in the process of governance. Finally, there should be ethics in citizen behavior because such behavior impinges directly on ethics in government and administration. Strengthening proactive vigilance to eliminate corruption and harassment to honest civil servants, including wherever necessary, limiting executive discretion, addressing systematic deficiencies manifesting in reluctance to punish the corrupt, identity procedures, rules and regulations, and factors which lead to corruption, measures to combat corruption and arbitrary decision making, and framework for their periodical review in consultation with the stakeholders are parts of vigilance and corruption. A relationship between political executive and permanent civil services Improvements in the institutional arrangements for smooth, efficient and harmonious relationship between civil service and the political executive. Code of conduct for different organs of government. Suggested measures to improve are criminalization of politics, participation of criminals in the electoral process is the soft underbelly of our political system. Disclosure of antecedents of candidates, disqualification of persons convicted of criminal offences, enforcement of the code of conduct, free and fearless polling, reduction in size of Council of Ministers, a reform of political funding, tightening of anti-defection law. One of the most comprehensive statements of what constitutes ethical standards for holders of public office came from the Committee on Standards in Public Life in the United Kingdom, popularly known as the Nolan Committee, which outlined the following 7 principles of public life. Selflessness. Holders of public office should take decisions solely in terms of public interest. They should not do so in order to gain financial or other material benefits for themselves, their family or their friends. 2. Integrity. Holders of public office should not place themselves under any financial or other obligation to outside individuals or organizations that might influence them in the performance of their official duties. 3. Objectivity. In carrying out public business, including making public appointments, awarding contracts, or recommending individuals for rewards and benefits, holders of public office should make choices on merit. 4. Accountability. Holders of public office are accountable for their decisions and actions to the public and must submit themselves to whatever scrutiny is appropriate to their office. 5. Openness or transparency. Holders of public office should be as open as possible about all the decisions and actions they take. They should give reasons for their decisions and restrict information only when the wider public interest clearly demands. 6. Honesty. Holders of public office have a duty to declare any private interests relating to their public duties and to take steps to resolve any conflicts arising in a way that protects the public interest. 7. Leadership. Holders of public office should promote and support these principles by leadership and example. Indians have always valued a world beyond the material and have embraced spiritualism as a way of life. Instances abound in our epics of good behavior, of the triumph of good over evil, of the wisdom of sages, stories of the honesty, generosity and piety of legendary kings such as Vikramaditya, are told to our children even today. There is no reason why Ram Rajya cannot be attempted. In modern India, poverty, insufficiency and class conflicts are slowly giving way to a confident, inclusive, empowered India. On the Transparency International's Corruption Index, India's position has improved significantly and hopefully will continue to do so. The vigilance of our enlightened people will ensure this. A more corruption-free regime would lead to a much higher rate of growth of our GDP, bring an overall improvement in the economy, and lead to greater transparency in government actions in serving its people. All this, in turn, will lead to greater empowerment of the people, the core need of a vibrant democracy.